We're back on day 2 at the dyno shop where we have the black Mustang. What we're going to end up actually doing is we're going to change a couple of the settings on the engine. Pretty much knowing Dave agreed that valve springs are probably bad. So I'm going to go in here. We're going to get started on the black car. We're going to pull a random cylinder. You know, the work never ends. Just a thing you have to deal with. So let's go get started. What up, what up? What's up, bro?
Same old stuff.
You know, valve springs are ranked right up there with heater core. You've never done one before?
On a foxbody? No.
Just in general.
Heater cores?
Yeah. They're the best.
I do valve springs any day of the week compared to a fox.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. All right, so this should definitely not be very fun. Because I got to pull some, I guess I do have to pull some stuff out. All right, so we had to take a couple of the vacuums off. Right now we're getting ready to take the fuel line loose. All we got to do really is expose the valve cover itself. Hi folks, so if you haven't already figured out, we're gonna check these valve springs. I remember switching these valve springs over a couple years ago from AFR when I first put valve springs on these heads or whatever. So we're gonna find out right now here today, the mad scientist here on a Sunday, we're going to put these in a spring compressor and see if they're kind of whooped.
The diesel Mustang. Diesel power.
Well, he's always making
like
fun.
A diesel. Look at this.
He's always making fun of my bill.
Foot-pounds of torque at 4,000, and then it makes peak horsepower at 4,700. That's diesel power right there.
That's right. That's right.
So
diesel. So basically, what you're trying to say, mechanically.
I'm not trying to say. I'm saying that after 5,000 RPM, it don't do nothing. It just floats.
It sits there and floats.
It doesn't do nothing.
Can't do nothing like that, can we?
Well, it could be valve springs, but until you eliminate certain things, you can't just guess. So we're going to eliminate valve.
Well, this is a mechanic. This is a good guess to eliminate.
It's one thing, you know.
But we'll know here. You're going to put them on the spring compressor, so we'll know if they got a.
Yeah, if you ever get them off there.
This guy. So this is usually like a compression tester. So what I do is you could use the same tool for changing valve springs if you ever decided to do that. But you have to take the little valve out of it right here. And what's going to happen is we're going to plug a compressor into our cylinder and we're going to constantly force air into our engine on purpose. Talk about forced induction, bro. I know some of you guys may not have a lot of access to diagnostic stuff like this to tell you that you have issues like with valve springs and such, but you know, a good rule of thumb is valve springs should be probably rechecked or even changed every so many years. You normally don't really notice them until about 5,000 RPM plus. You start getting erratic, like breakup, the engine's working too hard or whatever. So it's a good, ignition timing starts to break up. That's another one. So when you're trying to diagnose something like that, like ignition timing and or valve train timing. These are some of the things that you should probably look at. And we put videos like this on the channel before. You can unlock some serious hidden horsepower in your engine just by making sure that the valve train's in tune with you know, the engine itself. Very important. So we got our little apparatus here hooked up, and we're gonna go ahead and you're gonna see me put an air hose on it, and we're gonna add air to the cylinder, and it's gonna hold these valves up like I had mentioned. All right, so now what we're gonna do is measure the install height with the retainer and put the locks back in without the spring. All right, so we ended up getting the intake spring off and the 2 locks, etc. So we got the retainer. This is what was on my heads. I remember changing these a couple years ago, like I had mentioned, and they look pretty good. They look pretty nice. But we're gonna go put them in the spring compressor and see where we're at number-wise. Maybe they need replaced.
So it's 75. The retainer is 75,000.
Okay.
So we gotta go to 1,875. So that's 156 seat pressure. And that cam's like 570.
580.
580. Okay. So if we take 580 off of that, it's gonna take us all the way down to about 300. 300.
400.
Right around 400 pounds open. It's a good spring. Coil bind is way that's part of the problem.
What?
That's 250 off coil bind. So these springs are the wrong application for this deal. To make this spring work properly, you go coil bind and add about 60 to 80. So we're at 1060. So we go up to like 1120 as a minimum. And if you want to give it a little more room, let's just say 1150. That's lots of room. If we go 1150,
It's like a 480 seat pressure.
that's open.
Oh,
475 open.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, and that would be pretty sweet too. If you add 580 to that, that becomes 6,730.
A lot of math involved.
So that's 210 on the seat, 212 seat pressure.
Which isn't bad, is it?
No, I'd run it. If you're gonna beat the shit out of it, like you always do, that's what I'd run. I don't know if that's the problem on the dyno. It's still too much of a variable because the raw numbers, 150 on the seat and 400 open, on the face of it, that looks fine. But it's also on the light side.
Well, yeah. I mean, if they're good
There's
spring.
plenty of spring.
Okay.
It's not shimmed right.
Right.
Problem is, they don't know what cam you're going to run, so they just generically throw something on there and say, here you go.
Right. That doesn't make it ideal.
The last thing a cylinder head company wants to do is have some guy buy their heads and bolt them on and coil bind them and smash everything.
So they
make them so they got tons of room, so it'll run.
It's not efficient.
I mean, it made 600 wheel, but that's not running properly. It's like diesel Dodge Cummins power.
Stop it.
It is.
So what should we do? What's the...
My 5.9 out there would be proud.
If I'm taking them all off, should I go with a different spring, or could we just run those?
I'd just run them. We can check them and make sure that there's not any problems with any of them.
Right.
And if they all check out, if they all measure, good pressure, then just shim them up and run them.
All right, guys. So we went ahead and put the spring back on. What we were going to actually do is order some, put like 150,000 shim into it, which is kind of messes around with the valves, valve seals. We could put bigger springs in it. To be honest with you, our springs are fine. I think some of the breakup that we're having at the top and some of this over here might be ignition. So that's the next thing we're gonna look at. We're gonna add some timing to the car and try to get it to maybe respond, because we're only at about 15.5, 16 degrees total timing. So we're gonna add 2 or 3 degrees, and it's E85. So I'm gonna come back tomorrow and we're gonna finish putting the car back together. We're gonna verify timing, make sure that it's at 10 degrees, because my headers have been glowing a little bit, and I wanna say that maybe that has something to do with the timing being retarded more than advanced and not straight up. So you never know, you know, this is what you get when you're trying to diagnose, you know, these little things that I'm showing here on the channel, you know, little gremlins in your tune mechanically that could rob you of some, you know, good serious horsepower. So, you know, Dave confirmed that we probably should just go ahead and verify the timing real quick. We'll throw some timing at it and see if that kind of changes the power curve a little bit. Again, this MSD and this MSD box and this coil is old, and it's very well could be cutting up. Definitely could be cutting up. So stay tuned to the channel, guys, if you enjoy this sort of stuff. You know, these are gremlins that I have to deal with that I like to bring here to the channel in case you ever run into them. So if you guys enjoy the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Check out that join button below. Give something back to the channel. Big shout out to Dave, Mad Scientist here, and Kevin Cragen here at Cragen Automotive TI Dyno for giving me the spot here to work on my car. So see you guys soon in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and you know, stay tuned for part 3 as we make some more power.